Alrighty guys, what is going on? We are of course again back here standing in the middle of an open field in Plunder, and when we do that you know what's going on. We are testing out attachments here in Warzone today because again, this is one of those options that's just, I don't understand why the attachment stats that are listed don't actually match up to what they actually do in game. And the fact that this is actually on their Trello board now means that they actually are aware of it, which also means that they just put attachments in the game and they didn't actually know what they did. Anyway, big shout out to, of course, my guy, JGOD, and then, of course, the real GOAT. I mean, TrueGunData.com. This guy has a website which features all weapon statistics and stuff like that, and as well a YouTube channel, which is very, very cool, of course. You should go support him and JGOD if you haven't already done so. But I mean, they test out a lot of this stuff and they make sure it's all working and make sure things are happening in the community, because these attachments are just busted at the moment. Like today we're here to talk about the SMG barrels. Which one's the best SMG barrel? In comparison, we are looking at, of course, the rifled, which we did mention in a video the other day, which I may have changed my mind about, and we're also looking at the task force barrel here today. Now, when we do consider what is the best barrel in the game, what we are looking for whether it provides recoil control, whether it provides bullet velocity, or whether it provides damage range, or some combination of two of them, or all three of them. Now, what we're going to test here today is, of course, we're going to show off the AK74u, and essentially we're just going to do a little recoil test. Oi, 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 piss off. Yeah, keep going, keep going. Anyway, so this is the naked AK74u, no attachments here. We're just going to do a little recoil test on the side of this building here, and we're going to see how we get on here. So of course, it's fairly simple up and to the right, nice, really easy to control recoil. You can see that there, it's really not too difficult at all to control this thing. But when we do add different barrels and stuff like that that you're about to see, we can make this a lot easier to get kills with. Alrighty, we have had to jump into a new game, but this is of course the rifled barrel. Essentially what this is supposed to do, it does provide us with 8% damage range, and range is something that it is supposed to provide, but we weren't really exactly sure how much it did provide, but it's about an 8% increase. This also interestingly does increase our vertical recoil control, which is very, very interesting. This is the barrel that we did present as one of the best options the other day, but as you're about to see here, we will compare this to something else and we will try and find a better option. Anyway, as I said, this does increase our vertical recoil control by about 15%, and as you can see here, it is already a fair bit easier to control. Those first initial bullets do seem to be stuck together a lot more closely, and of course the recoil control pattern doesn't extend as high. Almost about 15%, which is a very, very nice increase as well. This barrel does also increase our hipfire area by about 75%, which is very, very strange for a barrel to do that, but of course with the recoil control, it makes it very, very easy to control this weapon. Now we are of course going to switch over to a different option that is very, very close to being one of the best options, but we will have to wait and see. We'll come up with a final verdict in just a second here. Now, here we are with the task force barrel for the AK74u. Now, in the description, this does of course say that it increases our damage, our range, and as well as that, it also, as you can see here, gives us nice little boost to our damage, effective range, and of course our bullet velocity. Now, most of these are true. I'm not really 100% sure about the damage, but it also says there, as you could see, that it increases our recoil, so it makes it a little bit harder for us to hit our shots. Now, we're gonna contest that here, and that is fairly interesting to say. This does increase our damage range by about 50%, which is very, very nice here. And it also increases our bullet velocity by 80%. But as we fire this thing, you can really see that recoil really isn't that bad. That's almost very, very similar, if not almost exactly the same as the first one we showed off, and it is about 15% larger, so it is actually not that much of an increase over something like a rifle barrel. It turns out that the task force barrel actually doesn't increase your recoil control at all. It doesn't make it harder to hit shots in any single way at all. So it just gives us a nice touch to our damage, of course, as well as increasing our range modifier by 50% as well, as you can see on this little chart here. And of course our bullet velocity by 80%, which is absolutely outstanding. The reason you want bullet velocity on your weapons in Warzone is, of course, when you are fighting at these sort of distances, say we're shooting at that one there, you want your bullets to hit the target as fast as possible. The idea is, of course, that you do make it as close to hit scan as possible. Remember the SPR-208 when that was a hit scan, how broken that was? The reason that was broken is because the bullets hit the target basically instantly. And the higher your bullet velocity is means basically your bullets will hit faster and they'll hit more easily, and it won't take as much effort to hit shots with this. Now, of course, the task force barrel, as we said, doesn't actually increase our recoil control, and that's like pretty weird. Even though it's supposed to do that, it doesn't. So essentially, we're looking at comparing these two together. Now, The range modifier that we get with each of these barrels, of course, as you can see by the little chart that we've posted up here, is 8% for the rifled barrel, which is a nice little increase. And then, of course, we want that vertical recoil control increase as well of about 15%. This does make it very, very easy to control our shots, but with this particular SMG and all of the other SMGs, as far as I know, this pretty much applies to all of them across the board. They are all the same attachment on all of the SMGs, so they do apply the same effects across the board. Anyway, as I was trying to say, essentially, you do have to compare these two side by side, and for the most part, the AK74u has very, very easy to control recoil as it is. Like, this is the standard recoil control pattern, and that just basically goes a nice up and to the right. Like, there is really not too much that's super difficult to control about that. That was a little bit more effort in recoil control there. If I just try and control this, I can pretty much get it on the same spot most of the time. And being able to control your weapons consistently is very, very important for something like this. So with the rifle barrel, even though it does increase our recoil control by about 15% in the vertical variety, vertical recoil control is actually really easy to sort of sort out anyway. It's the horizontal recoil control that usually is a little bit more difficult. And with the Task Force barrel, we just get such a massive increase to our bullet velocity and, of course, our damage range that we can't really skip past it. Even though the rifle barrel does give us about 15% increase to our vertical recoil control, we don't really need that realistically. Like, it's not super, super strong. It is a good option, and it does make it a lot easier to hit our shots, but we don't really need to rely on that. So we do want the most amount of bullet velocity possible, while also having a very large amount of damage range included here. So I have to say that the Task Force barrel for the SMGs is simply just one of the best options that you can go with in the barrel slot. The rifled barrel is a close second as well, as it does offer that recoil control, but I mean, basically just the Task Force barrel is the option you want to go with. I mean, this is all subject to change, of course. As I said, it is on their Trello board now, meaning they are aware that their attachments don't actually do what they say they do, so they're probably going to be looking at fixing this. And it does actually blow my mind that this has just been the case for so long. Like, ever since the integration happened, people have been like, oh, the statistics do what they say they do. And people coming from Cold War, including myself, have been sort of preaching, oh, well, this is what the attachments say they do, so this is what they do. And it's just... But fortunately, we do have guys like JGOD and, of course, TrueGameData.com that are revealing the statistics for all of these weapons, and I do appreciate that an awful lot. So hopefully me being able to share the information that they have provided us is doing them a service, doing you guys a service, and also helping me out a little bit as well. So, of course, our final verdict is the Task Force barrel is the best option for pretty much any SMG in the game. You just get a massive increase to your range of about 50%. A bullet velocity increase, which is kind of hard to measure just by me shooting the wall here. Like, you can see that it kind of hits the wall a little bit faster, but again, this is more of a feel thing. You just run around and your bullets appear to hit the target a lot faster than they do because they just simply move faster, which is very, very nice here. So that increases our bullet velocity by 80%, and instead of actually increasing our recoil control, it does nothing at all, which is a super, super beneficial statistic for our weapon. Not making it harder to hit our shots is, of course, a very, very good thing here. Anyway, guys, hopefully you did enjoy this one. Make sure you do use the Task Force barrel on most of your SMG class letters because it is an absolute banger of an option. The rifled's still good too, so don't just skip out on that entirely, but I mean, the Task Force barrel is probably where it's at the moment. Anyway, guys, as I was trying to say, thank you very much for watching this one. I do appreciate it, of course. Make sure you do hit that subscribe button with those notifications turned on. Also, go subscribe to JGOD. Go subscribe to TrueGameData.com. Use their sources. Use their websites because they are fantastic pieces of equipment to be able to use and know all the statistics in the game because I just love it, man. I love all those statistics and stuff like that. So, as I said, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!